In this video, we'll show you how to replace the spark plug wires on your Subaru Baja. This is located in the front of the vehicle and right on top of the engine. Let's get started. We can loosen up the 10mm for the negative terminal. We'll set that down. That way it can't make contact. And pull the positive terminal off. Commonly, you'd have a 10mm nut holding down your J-hooks. For our case, we have some wing nuts. We can just go ahead and loosen those. It can help to pick up on the bracket while you loosen these. That way the J-hooks stay in their holes and hold them still. Once you have enough slack, you can pop the J-hooks from out of the chassis. And we can remove our bracket. And we can remove the battery. We have two 10mm bolts holding in our washer fluid reservoir. We can go ahead and remove those. We have our electrical connector for our washer fluid pump down bottom here. We have a tab towards the outside of the vehicle. We'll press in on that as you pull up on the connector. Whenever you remove an electrical connector, you want to check the terminals for any damage or corrosion. These look good. Battery cable hooks onto the washer fluid reservoir right here. And we can go ahead and just set that off to the side and rest it up against the intake box. It's not totally necessary to remove the washer fluid reservoir, but it definitely helps give you more space to work. Grab the end of the plug wire, pull out. Moving up from that, we can start to pop our front wire and pop the wire out of all the clips. And then as you pull the wire off of the ignition coils, you want to twist. And we can start to feed the end of the plug wire out underneath the AC line. As you can see, we have a couple different lengths of plug wire here. You want to make sure that you install the correct ones in their places. For the driver's side, it's going to be the longer ones. Now we can just go with the reverse order of removing the old one. We'll get the wire underneath the AC line. I'm going to plug the wire into the ignition coil. Make sure that's fully seated. Then we can start working back towards the spark plugs, connecting the wire to each clip. And we can install our coil pack. As you push in on the coil pack, you want to make sure that it bottoms out and makes contact with the spark plug. Replacing your rear spark plug wire is the same process as the front one. Now we can get the washer fluid reservoir back in place. Get the two bolts started in. And we'll snug those down. And plug back in the electrical connector. Make sure that's fully seated and not going to pull back off. You want to make sure that your battery cable is back hooked to the washer fluid reservoir. We have two 10mm bolts that we need to remove in order to remove the beginning of our air duct. And we can pull that off and set it off to the side. Normally, to remove this tube, you'd need to undo this 10mm bolt right here. The bracket in our case is broken, however, so we're just going to pull up on this. We can pop that off of the intake box and set that off to the side. To remove the lower box for the intake, we have one 12mm bolt down on the frame rail. And there's a grommet over on the side. You can just pop that out and remove the box. Moving over to the passenger side, the process is the same as the driver's side. We'll go ahead and pull the spark plug wire off of the ignition coil. And this time we only have a couple of clips. Pop the plug wire out. For this side, we do have a difference in length with our spark plug wires. To figure out which one goes where, you're going to want to compare them to each of these spark plug wires that you're removing. Looks like that's the right one. We're going to apply some dielectric grease. And we can start to feed the upper end of the plug wire. Plug the wire onto the ignition coil. Make sure that's fully seated. Get the wire into each clip. When you install the plug wire, you want to make sure that it fully bottoms out and you feel it pop onto the spark plug. The process for the rear spark plug is the same as the front. You can pull the plug wire out of the head and off the spark plug. Give the upper end of the wire a twist to pull it off of the ignition coil. And get the lower box for the intake back in, line it up, push the grommet into the side of the engine bay. We'll get the bolt in, and we can just snug that down. You want to make sure the battery is centered in its tray. We'll get the positive terminal on first. And we can snug down the 10 millimeter. And make sure the boot is set over the terminal. Get the negative terminal in place. And we'll get that snug down as well. We can get our battery tie down lined up and centered on the battery. If you pick up on the battery bracket, as you tighten down on the J-hooks, that'll help keep the J-hooks in place on the chassis.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.